Having a little bit of tech difficulties. Where you at? Yes, we are running a little bit late, had a little quick technical difficulties, but don't you fret none. We're starting Rise Radio Friday night takeover from my boy Max. It's a special night tonight. Special night. We will be turning down the music to interview one of the icons of Chicago house music, the legendary Robert Williams. For those who don't know, the proprietor of the Warehouse and the Music Box, the man who brought Frankie Knuckles to Chicago, the man who made Ron Hardy a household name. We have him in studio here. He's going to tell some stories, dispel some myths, and let you all know how it all started, this thing called house. We want to do a quick party update. Quick party update first and foremost.
Check
tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Sunday.
Rob, you on there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. This coming Sunday, our partner in crime, the 7-footer, the shot blocker, the one in the middle, DJ Steve Maxwell, will be joining Jamal Cooper and Philander Philly D Gators at Sunday Groove Sessions at Truth Restaurant and Lounge in Chicago's historic Bronzeville neighborhood, 56 East 39th Street, Persian Road. It would behoove you to be in the building there. It's going to be hot jams all night from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's an early evening for all you folks that got to get up and work Monday morning. Before we get into our special guest, I want to give special thanks to Rhonda Flowers, Coco, and Reggie Corner, who had the Arise Radio team at Renaissance. I live for Wednesday's House Music Night this past Wednesday at Renaissance, also in historic Bronzeville neighborhood. We had a blast. It was off the meter.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. It was a Stone Cold Groove. Stone Groove.
We had a blast night. A lot of nice people came out.
Yes.
And we definitely enjoyed ourselves. But tonight is all about the man we have here. We felt that it was important to let people know the history of house music. For those who don't know how it all started, and it's a special occasion because this is the anniversary of the passing of the one and only Frankie Knuckles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is the passing of the one and only Frankie Knuckles. So we had to take some time out to acknowledge him and his contributions. So that's definitely something we will always do here on WNUR 89.3 FM, Evanston, Chicago. Now, BT, I'm seeing BT's coming up. Did you have some more special announcements? BT?
That's about it.
Oh, okay. So, we're going to get into Mr. Robert Williams. Yes, sir. Say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
That's him. That's the voice for those of you who've never heard his voice, who just seen him walk in the party past the ropes. watch the sea part. so he can into the VIP.
Joe's a funny
section.
guy.
Into the VIP section. Yes, if you never heard his voice, that's him. But it's great to have you here, Rob. It truly is.
I'm very glad to be here with you guys.
Yes, we've tried to put this in the works for a long time, and luckily we were able to do it tonight.
Yes.
On this special occasion. I know because it's his passing, a lot of people were assuming that this was a tribute to Frankie, but it's not. It's not. This is tonight. We, the Rise Radio team, we wanted to make this we wanted to hear Rob's story.
That's right. This is about Robert Williams.
Right. We wanted to hear Rob's story and how he came. So where did it all start for Rob? Where did it all start for you?
What do you mean, where did it all start?
Where did it all start? I hear, we got, I know some of
What
your
did you
history.
hear?
I've read up on your history and who you are, but it's a radio station. We gotta act like we gotta ask the questions for the people who have no idea. So, where you're from?
Okay, I'm from Harlem in New York City.
Originally, yeah.
Originally from 125th Street. I'm 26 in St. Nicholas.
Okay, 126 in St. Nicholas, Harlem, New York. And what brought you to Chicago?
Well, actually, what brought me to Chicago was New York economics. It was, a rat race, and I thought I would, go somewhere where it was calmer.
There was a lot less of a rat race.
Yeah, that's true.
But did you have family here, or were you?
Yes, I've always had family here. The Paytons and the Hightowers. My uncle was a doctor here at Providence Hospital.
Oh, okay.
So they suggested I come here. I didn't really was thinking about coming here. I was thinking about more or less going to Baltimore.
Oh, the whole house music world could have been changed upside down if Baltimore would have been that choice. So you came to Chicago. I know you'd already been. You were in college. I know you proudly the great debaters.
Yeah. I don't know how you knew that, but yeah.
Wiley College and HBCU,
Right.
yes, definitely. So after school, you decided to come to Chicago, and but before we get into Chicago, when you were in New York, how was the scene there? I mean, as far as where were you partying? Where were you? How was the music scene
Okay,
there?
basically, being a little older than you guys, I came out during. My mother left New York and moved to California and left me in New York with a stipend, a little money.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to go out, and I had my own apartment for a while. So it was during the disco era.
Right.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember. I was still a
Yeah,
kid.
the real disco era. So I was going to clubs like this club called Sanctuary, which was an old church. They had converted into a club. This club in the village called the Dome. The Dome. And so I was going to different clubs like that,
Oh, okay. And who were the people you were listening to at that time?
Actually, I didn't know a soul. My cousin, he took me out, because I was kind of like a nerdy little boy. And, I was just being introduced to the scene because my mother kept a tight rein on me.
Right.
I went to boys high in Brooklyn, so she kept me in the house a lot, so to speak. So once she left, I turned up.
I hear that. Right. I hear that. So you go into the Dome and Tamerlane, and how did you connect with those guys that who you are forever linked with? With Frankie and Larry.
Yeah, basically, after college, I went to college in Texas and in Iowa. So I came back to New York, and I got a job with the New York Department of Probation.
Okay.
And so I was a probation counselor, a juvenile counselor. And that's how I ran into Frankie Knuckles and Larry Levan, because they were on my caseload.
Juvenile delinquents, basically.
Yeah, truants. They used to hang out in the street a lot. Larry was with his grandmother in Brooklyn.
Right.
And Frankie was his aunt. And so they were at Spotswood Juvenile Center, And I just treated them like any other juveniles that were coming there,
right.
To the center, until I was at the Dome one evening.
Right.
And I ran into them.
Oh, okay.
And that changed the whole spectrum of things.
Now, you didn't know that. Did you know that they were playing music at that time, or were they already?
Actually, they weren't playing music.
Oh, they weren't. They were just partying.
They were just wild kids.
So they hadn't even started DJing themselves.
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
Oh, so you knew them before they were even DJing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You learned something every
Well, Frankie Knuckles was going to Parsons School of Design. I'm not exactly what sure Larry was doing,
Right.
because if the kids knew them by, they were wild, believe me,
Okay.
It was a crew of them.
Oh, it was a group of.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
They wore makeup and all kinds of things.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they were wild young boys.
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, now that's new.
Yeah, well.
That's new.
Yeah.
So now, when you decided to come to Chicago, and what was your first impression of the Wizard?
Well, actually, I had come here. I came to Chicago prior. A friend of mine named Ron Braswell in New York. He was dating somebody in Chicago.
Right.
That came to New York. So he decided to ask me to come here with him, to check out his date.
Oh, okay.
And that was a wild experience, too, because it was really hot in the summertime. And the people lived up on Wilson Avenue in this high-rise. It looked like a hotel-type building, with the long hallways and stuff. And the guy had invited me. He said, he was going to fix us dinner and stuff. Now, it was extremely hot in Chicago. So when we got to the building in which they live, I asked Ron, I said, there's a strange odor coming out of here. I don't know what that is. So I didn't know the guy was preparing chitlins.
Oh, you were unaware of the aroma that comes with chitlins.
Well, I knew about the aroma, but it was really heavy. Because he lived in a studio apartment.
Ouch. Oh yeah, there's no
With
way
chitlins on the stove?
Yeah. There's no way to get away.
It was really hilarious because the guy, when we finally discovered what was going on, me and Ron, I was like, my God, what's going on here? So, I'm silly in a sense, so I just said, I can't take it. I asked the guy how to prepare it. I said, how do you cook these?
Right.
So he gave me a brief synopsis of.
Okay, so now you come to Chicago. You don't eat or don't eat the chitlins.
No, actually, it was brief, and after that little experience, I rushed around to go back to New York. So we went back. I didn't come back here. I used to come here and visit, my relatives, but my family, because they lived on 39th off the King Drive, Oakwood Boulevard.
Okay.
But I never went anywhere.
Right.
I was young. So my mother, they never, took me out anywhere in Chicago. So when I decided to really move here, my aunt and them told me, they were trying to get me a job, with the Volunteers of America Living Center for Girls.
Oh, okay.
So when I came here, I had friends that came to New York to visit me all the time, like Mr. Larry Hope, Donald Crosley, Mike. These were some of my fraternity brothers too.
Oh, from Chicago.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So when I finally moved here, I didn't move here to open up a club or anything like that. I just moved here to get a good job and, progress a little.
But
they said they were happy that I moved here. Because they was like, yeah, it's on. Let's get parties. So I was like, okay. It was boring a little to me.
Right. The idea of throwing parties.
Well, no, it was boring in Chicago to me.
Right.
Because I didn't know anything about Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So they decided they said, let's have a New York party in Chicago.
Okay.
So asking me that, I had to do what I knew how to do from New York.
Right.
So I said, okay, well, where's y'all loft spaces? So they didn't even know what that meant. So I was like, really? They didn't know what a loft was.
Right.
So, and then one of them kind of knew. So then we decided to give it at this friend of theirs' apartment on Belmont right near Sheridan.
Okay.
So they had some Kenwood speakers. And I was like, what are y'all doing with those? They said, well, we're going to use this for the music. I said, oh, no.
That will not do.
So they said, well, what kind of speakers will we get?
Right.
So I said, y'all going to have to rent some if you don't have any.
Right.
So they took me to this place called Grand Stage Lighting on Lake Street.
Okay.
And we rented these big Voice of the Theater speakers.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 of them.
And it worked out.
Well, it worked out in reference to it was loud. Yeah, and the police came and interrupted the party. They told us if we turned them on again, they were arresting everybody in the party.
And this was on Belmont. So this was the first. This was the first inception of you throwing parties in Chicago.
Well, I wasn't throwing parties. I was just assisting.
You were just assisting.
Right.
Yeah, because I never hear that address when I hear about the
well, no, because see, I was actually, for a long time, I was with this group. You know,
okay.
Yeah, and they call themselves Us.
Oh, okay.
But I was a tag-along.
Oh.
Okay, I didn't really get into this in terms of seriously thinking about a club until they inducted me into their business as the president. They voted me in their club, you know. So when they did that, I got rid of a few of them. Yeah. But you know, before that, I was like, what do you call it? A guide.
A guide. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I just told them how they should do it.
Right.
You know.
Okay. But you had the New York experience.
Right. So
to show them how it was done, and then you decide to. So what was the first? Which was the first address of what we would say?
116. Okay, right after the Belmont situation.
Right.
The apartment. My friend Michael Matthews, who's an alpha, he decided, well, let's get some alphas together to help with this.
Right.
So he got his frat, you know, and he came to me and said, Robert, we found a loft space. I was like, oh, really? And it was this girl's loft space. Her name was Max Hatch. Okay. She made those revolutionary type hats back then, you know, the red, blue, white, and green.
Oh, really?
You know, those knitted hats, you know.
Right.
You know, P. Houston, all them, you know. She made those kind of hats, you know.
Oh, okay.
So she agreed to let us have a party in her loft.
In her loft.
Man, I was like, okay. So they wrote out invitations on index cards, you know, and passed them out to their friends.
And how was the turnout for them?
Well, it was about 200 people.
Okay.
So it was fantastic, actually. And then we said we wanted to do another one, right? So the second one, I told them we had to rent more equipment. And, you know, I'll put it like this. My experience with giving parties was really noted from David Mancuso, my friend in New York.
Okay. From the legendary loft.
Right. So he was my pal, so.
Right.
I patterned the warehouse after him.
Right.
And what he did, okay? So the warehouse was patterned after the loft.
Okay. Yeah. And that was that first address was at
116 South Clinton. But we had the girl had rented the space to them. Now remember, I'm tag along here.
Right.
I'm not Mr. Robert Williams. You know. I'm just a tag along.
Right.
You know, I'm like hanging out with you guys, but y'all are doing that. I don't have no money for this.
Right.
They did all the stuff, you know, through their little club. Mm-hmm. So the second party was about 500 people that came. Mm. And it was so crowded that the police came, but they couldn't get up the stairs. There were too many people. And then on top of it, people couldn't leave because there was too many people onto the door, so they had to take people out through the freight elevator into the alley.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So it was really packed.
So you knew then that there was a thirst for this type of party.
Well, Actually, I wasn't really paying it that much attention. I was just having a really good time because it was so boring. I thought it was fantastic, you know. So it didn't make me homesick.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know. So, you know, I was like, good, there's something going on here,
right.
You know. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then I was glad to be affiliated with them.
Right.
You know. And right after that party, the building burnt down.
Ooh.
With all the equipment in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And fell onto the Flourishing Shoe Company.
Oh.
Which was right next. That was right by Union Station.
Yeah, I know exactly what it is. Oh, wow.
So the girl lost all her stuff, and she was renting from these people, this Jewish guys, the Jewish man named I forgot exactly their name, but they own the building. Their company owned 555 West Adams.
Right.
And they also owned 1400 South Michigan, which was Jerry Butler's old studio.
Oh, okay.
And so they suggested that we move there.
And you moved to 1400?
They did.
Okay, they moved.
I tagged along.
Right, you were still tagging along. Okay. So they moved to 1400 South Michigan.
Yeah, see, basically, I guess what I was a groupie, in a sense, okay? Right. I mean, I gave them instructions on how I think they should do things.
Right.
And it was successful. And, you know, the parties were electric because, you know, they kind of like, I told them that they should, you know, perk up the punch and everything.
Right.
Right. That's where the juice bar comes.
So, at 1400 South Michigan, it was right across the street from the fire department.
Right, yeah.
And they got mad and they started shooting at the windows.
Oh,
yeah, because of the music. And, you know, it was okay. Now, basically, these guys were gay.
Right.
Okay? So this was a whole gay party.
Gay party.
A gay movement.
Right.
Okay.
So the fire department wasn't digging.
They weren't digging it, and plus, you know, the gay boys were really wild. You know, they were mooning the fire department people coming in and sitting outside. You know, they were wild.
Oh, wow.
So it became a little crazy.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
So they decided to try and get them out of there.
Right.
So, yeah, I remember. The people who owned the building, the first building, and they were Arthur Lipschultz and Associates.
Okay.
The Jewish guys. So we moved to 55. They moved to 555 West Adams. Which building? The building is still there per se,
right.
But they tore the old one down and built a new one.
Oh, okay.
But the address, same right. Format.
Yeah.
So the building extends from Clinton all the way to Jefferson.
Right.
It took up the
whole block.
Right. You know. So they were giving parties, and the parties were rather successful. They would call us.
Right.
And at this point, you know, their little club they were in, you know, they had the little vice president, the president, you know, like a little president. Right. And they weren't handling things right.
Right.
So they asked me that I wanted to be president of the group.
Right.
Which was kind of a mistake on their part. Because I always thought that some of them were being a little tacky, but, you know, right. I was a tag-along, so I didn't say too much, you know.
But now you were president.
Well, when they voted me as president, I got rid of them. We got a lawyer.
Okay.
We got a lawyer for the corporation, and I really formed the corporation.
Right.
See, they were just a club.
Right.
So I formed the corp.
Right.
Okay, and called it a studio.
Okay.
Okay, and I hired this lawyer, Herbert N. Sherrod, Bob Sherrod, who was on Channel 11.
Oh, yeah.
His brother.
Okay.
Was our attorney for the warehouse.
Oh, okay.
He was a Democratic part of the Democratic organization.
Right.
This is, during Richard J.
Jay
Daley.
Daly. Yeah.
The daddy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Daddy Daly. Yeah, exactly.
So when I did that, they got mad that I got rid of a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a DJ. It was a DJ's name was Mike Matthews, and part of the group was Benny Winfield, which was Greg Winfield's older brother.
Okay.
Okay, so they left and formed their own club called the Bowery, which was on Dearborn and over there. What do you call that area?
Dearborn and
like near State.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Printers
you're
Row.
in the loop. Oh, Printers Row. Yeah.
Yeah, over that way. Yeah.
Okay.
So they formed a club called the Bowery.
Mm-hmm.
So the people left with them.
Oh.
Because, it was a group.
Right.
It was a gay party. And they were, they were bad-mouthing me, for being the way I was, getting rid of some of the popular kids in the group.
Right.
So when they left, it left me with Benny Winfield and Siegfried Schuh, which was their partner in the club. He was a master violinist, a German guy.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't have nobody coming to the parties.
Ouch.
So everybody was going to the Bowery then.
Right.
So me and Ziggy were sitting in the window like, I think we're kind of screwed on this one. I think we're out of business with parties. So when we were sitting in the back of the window, the space was on the 7th floor at 555 West Adams.
Right.
But it went all the way back to Jefferson.
Right.
We had the whole top floor. 10,000 square feet.
Oh, man.
Yeah, It was huge.
Yeah.
We only could use half of it because we could only handle half.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me. So we saw this little building sitting for rent. I was like, oh, that's a cute Art Deco building.
Right.
And he was like, Art Deco? I said, yeah, the 20s, which was 206 South Jefferson.
Oh,
okay.
So me and Ziggy decided to go investigate.
Right.
So we went and checked it out, and the people was, we gave them a line that we were art promoters and what have you. And they agreed to lease it to us.
Right.
So they leased it to us. Then we was like, oh, we have a club now.
Right.
Our own club. But, then we was like, I was like, well, we need some help.
Right.
I can't do this. We can't do this like this.
Right.
So I said, well, I'll go back to New York and see if some of my pals will come and help me.
Right.
So I went and got my friend Ron Braswell.
Okay.
And he agreed reluctantly a little. Then I said, well, I can ask Larry LeBand to come out and help me.
Right.
So Larry was like, no. He said, you did Chicago so terribly the last time you was there. I said, well, it's improved. He was like, no, Robert. And plus, during that time, he was working for Richard Long and Associates doing this club called Soho. But he was embarking on he was thinking about doing, him and Frankie both, the Paradise Garage. Actually, a lot of people don't know this, but Frankie was supposed to open the Paradise Garage, not Larry.
Right. Oh, wow. Oh, really?
Yeah, but, Larry was the nicer eye candy.
So now so Larry turns you down, and
then I asked T. Scott.
Okay, and that didn't work out.
No, because he said, I'm going to be doing Zanzibar, but I can't in Jersey. I can't go.
Right.
And I was like, oh. Wow.
Right.
So I was thinking about asking Nicky.
Nicky Ciano?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, he's the one that taught Larry and Frankie how to play.
Right.
Yeah. People don't know that, but he did.
Yeah, I actually had read that in Mel Sharon's book.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And So I didn't go to the gallery a lot because it was extra gay to me.
It was gay.
It was too gay for you, Rob.
It was extra. I I didn't mind, a little gay here and there, but it was too much for me. My head wasn't turned on like that yet.
Oh, the gallery was too much.
Yeah, it was too much. But so Frankie was the only one that wasn't doing anything.
Right.
So he told me maybe.
Right.
So I was like, well, could you think about it some more?
Right.
And he was like, I don't know.
Right.
So I had to come back to Chicago without a DJ. But when we were still working, I was still working, and we were still working on 206.
Right.
So I was like, wait a minute. So I had to call Frankie back a week later, and I said, are you going to come or not? He said, I'm still thinking about it.
Right.
So I said, well, meanwhile, I called Richard Long.
Right.
And I asked him, I said, I got this place out here, and I need a sound system. So he was like, what? I said, Richard, I need a sound system. Please, please,
Right.
could you fly out and check out the place and tell me what I need?
Right.
So Richard was like, well, if you got some boys out there I can hang out with, I'll come. I was like, yeah, I'll find you a date. So he came out.
Right.
And he measured the room and checked everything out. And then he decided, okay, this is what you guys need. And he said he was going to make a special crossover.
Oh, really?
For the place.
Oh, wow.
Now, meanwhile, he was doing all this, but I still didn't have no DJ.
Right.
So he decided on what to put into the warehouse.
Gotcha.
Because, he had, how you guys do the,
right.
What do you call that? Like sound the room or something?
Yeah. So you were full Richard Long system all the way through?
All the way.
Wow.
Right.
That's nice.
So I called Frankie back.
Yeah.
So I said, well, Frankie, you don't really have to come out if you don't want to because, Richard Long is putting in the system.
Right.
So he was like, what? I said, yeah, he's putting in the system. So I sent him pictures of the place. So he said, well, send me a ticket. Let me come check it out.
Right.
So when he came and checked it out, he really liked it.
Yeah.
And then he said, he'd have to talk to Richard Long himself because he didn't really believe me.
Right.
So Richard said, yeah, I'm coming out and helping Bob out. But, so Richard just said, we bought the equipment, right? So he sent that here on the train.
Oh, wow.
All the speakers, all the stuff. It was wild. It was funny to me. And the tweeters, they came in a big box. They was in these JBL tweeters.
Yeah.
They were in this clear plexiglass thing.
Right.
4 tweeters. So he gave us 8 tweeters. One on that end of the room and one on this end.
Oh, wow.
And then we had the horns mounted, those JBL horns with the big fans on them.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
4 of those around the room. 2 on that end, 2 on this end.
Right.
Then we had the sub woofers on the floor. 2 on this end, 2 on that end. Then we had the mid-range hanging up over the woofers.
Right.
But we have 6 of those.
Oh.
2 on that end, 2 on this end, and 2 in the middle. Okay. So he told us that the sound had to be separated.
Right.
So I said, okay.
Oh, wow.
So he put it all together, and Frankie was like, yes, okay, I'm here. But when Frankie came, we tried to open up the warehouse, but remember the Bowery.
Right.
They were dishing also like, bad mouthing the warehouse and
Right.
everything. Because, they came to one party. They liked the space, but they didn't like Frankie.
Right.
They said, Robert, with that New York shit.
Right.
I mean, stuff,
Well,
He's down here trying to bring this New York dude here to Chicago. Chicago people are just like New Yorkers in a
Right.
sense. They're kind of arrogant.
Gotcha.
Well, they are. But see, because, Chicagoans are spoiled.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
The people in Chicago are spoiled because y'all have more than we had.
In some ways, yeah.
No, in a lot of ways, it's because, I have a cousin that lived in my aunt's building on 47th and Prairie, right?
Right.
Okay.
And they had a huge apartment.
Right.
And they called it, they said it was in the hood,
Right.
right? But I was comparing her apartment, my aunt's apartment, to the New York, right? I was like, if y'all had this in New York, y'all couldn't even afford to live here. Okay?
Right.
And then, the kids here driving their parents' cars.
Right.
In New York, we didn't drive no cars.
Right. On the subway.
Subway. My mother had one, but I never got in it.
Right.
But so
Right. Yes.
Chicagoans were like, because my friends used to come to New York and it was like, they used to turn their nose up at, a little like, you live here?
Right.
It's nice, but the way you did it, but really?
Right.
Yeah,
because New York is expensive.
So then they were like, we don't want to hear no New York DJ.
Right.
We Chicago.
Right.
And Michael Matthew was from here. He was Alpha from here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is a gay situation. So, they had it kind of like tied down a little, right? So the warehouse wasn't able to open.
It wasn't able to open, or?
No, because they wouldn't come in.
Right. Oh, okay.
So Frankie got an idea. He said, let's go to the Bowery, because I had never been to the Bowery.
Right.
I was like, forget him.
Right.
So he was like, let's go to the Bowery. I was like, He's like, come on. Now, my friends, Michael Matthews, who was the DJ at the Bowery, they idolized Frankie and Larry and them when they used to come visit me in New York.
Right.
So he was thrilled. I told him, I said, can I bring Frankie to the Bowery? Frankie Knuckles? I
Right.
said, yeah. I wasn't really thrilled over the whole act, the idea at all. So when Frankie got to the Bowery, Michael, the DJ, asked him to play.
Right.
And I was really upset then. I was like, you gonna play for them? No.
Right.
He was like, cool.
Right.
So he played, and like turned the place out.
Right.
I was like, damn, people were running to him, asking him about his autograph. I was looking
Right.
at everybody like it was
wow.
crazy. So they asked him where he was gonna play again.
Right.
So he said, well, I'm going to play at the warehouse over on Jefferson. And here's the address. Oh, we know where that is. Robert Williams? Yeah, we know him. Yeah. You going to play over there? Yep. So Frankie said, let's give a grand opening party free.
That'll do it.
And I was like, but we need money. He said, no, let's do free in Ron Braswell.
Right.
So we got this crew together and we decorated the warehouse and gave a grand opening, right? It was so many people that came to that grand opening, right? That police came and had to help us. Well, the police helped us with the crowd control outside.
Right.
Because the warehouse was politically tied in with the city
Right.
to my lawyer.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay? So they didn't mess with the warehouse.
Oh, that's the way to do
Gotcha.
it. That's the way to do
Yeah,
it.
that
Yeah,
is
so-
the way to go. You gonna
And
get
They
so-
just started coming
And they just started coming from that point on.
that point on.
Man.
anytime you got police protection.
But,
I can
you know,
do that.
being that I didn't know. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm running a business, right?
Right.
Me and Frankie. And we bring adult kids came, some underage kids, I'm sure, you know, but it was a membership club.
Right.
You know, like I said, I patterned it after the law.
Right.
So you had to be called in, just like if Joe was a guest and he wanted to invite Terry,
Right.
you know, he called Terry's name in.
Right.
You know, even if he didn't go, he called him in as his guest.
Right.
But you couldn't get in without him.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So those people who had membership were acting snooty about things, you know, just like you know. Maybe I'll put you on the guest list, sweetheart, if you come over, you know.
Right.
You know, people are using it as date pullers and all kinds of things, you know. Because they want to come.
I honestly believe, though, there's a part of me that believes that membership situations really need to come back.
Well, yeah. You know, it depends on, you know, I feel like this. It depends on how people, see, I don't know what people's purpose is today in doing things. You have to have a purpose.
Absolutely.
On what you're doing. You can't just get up. You know, they're like these people, they just like get up and I'm gonna have a party. Right. You know? And they throw a table in front of put a controller on it and a couple of little speakers.
And they got a party.
See, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely. I agree.
Absolutely.
And then we have, you know, in terms of where you come from and your experience in life, it teaches you to do better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine when you was younger and, you know. But as you get older, even, nowadays, DJing and being in this music, in this industry, right, it's sometimes our hobby. Sometimes it's not our hobby.
Right.
But if it's your hobby, you should treat it like it's a good hobby.
Right.
And treat it with excellence.
Absolutely.
It's just like if I was making, like I said before, if model airplanes was my hobby, right?
Right.
And I showed you one of my airplanes and the wing fell off, I wasn't doing too good. Okay?
Right.
So you have to be good because, you know, now people have jobs, they have families to take care of.
Right.
So, you know, you have to be a little more crafty about what you're doing.
Yeah, people, I think not enough people like to make it an event. They just want to.
No.
Yeah.
They don't have a purpose. First of all, you can't make money. You shouldn't do it for money.
Money. You should never do it for money.
No.
Money should never be the motivating factor. I completely agree with you. That never works out. So now the U.S. studio, you finally got it rolling. And I mean, at peak, when did you? At what point did you feel like, okay, this is beyond what I ever imagined it would be? Was that at like first day? I mean,
well, okay, not exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't get big headed about it. I just thought I did what I knew how to do.
Right.
That's all. You know, in terms of, and then plus I had my New York boys with me.
Right.
I had Ron Braswell, Frankie, and we were all connected with New York.
Right.
So whatever we did in Chicago, we got out of New York.
Oh, exactly.
Okay, so our connections was New York.
Right.
You know, Judy Weinstein, all of them, you know. So our connections and the warehouse, the way we were feeling about it, we were doing something in the city.
Right.
But we didn't know about what else was going on in the city.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sort of like we were doing an after-hours club, but we weren't concerned about anybody else.
As you shouldn't have been.
You know, we weren't concerned about what you did or he did, you know, in terms of what was going on in the city.
Right.
And plus, it was a gay club.
Right.
Okay? So, you know, why would we be concerned about the little heterosexual boys and girls? Okay? Y'all weren't part of our scenario.
Exactly.
You know, it was a gay scene thing, you know? now heterosexual kids were coming to the warehouse because their gay friends were taking them.
Right.
You know, like, look,
Right.
where you coming from?
Right.
You know, I'm going down here, you know. So this boy, you know, this gay boy would take his girl, his friend,
Right.
you know, Paula, with him.
Right.
You know, and Paula was like, ooh. What the hell?
So when you first came here, you felt like there was no outlet for gay entertainment. Gay
Well,
life?
I didn't feel there was no outlet for a musical scene for
straight or gay.
right.
Oh, okay.
Because when I first came here, they took me to this club called Bistro.
Right.
You know, and they asked me for like 2 or 3 pieces of ID. I was like, for real? I don't even carry ID except for to school. You know, really? You want my mama? You know? So, you know, Chicago, I found it was a racist city in a sense.
Yeah,
Okay?
very much.
You know, but, you know, New York is too, but for money reasons only.
Right.
If you have money, no race.
Right.
Okay? Or if you have talent, no race.
Right.
Okay?
So now you got U.S. Studios rolling, and I mean, at that time I was a kid, but the music was literally taking over the city. You know,
Right.
literally taking over the city, and I mean, like, okay, before you moved, I mean, it's blowing up, blowing up, and when you get to, like, how many years did it? How many good years did it run? You ran from
About 6.
6 years. 6 good years. That's a good run.
That's a great run.
That's a
Well,
very
you
good
know, the warehouse had become, you know, actually, the warehouse was a better club than Paradise Garage.
Really?
See, what we don't understand is that the warehouse was a true after-hours club, underground club.
Right.
Paradise Garage started that way and didn't end up that way, and then commercial.
Oh, did it?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
It was more open to the public because they had to have numbers
Right.
Gotcha.
for that space.
So that space was a lot bigger.
Right.
Oh,
It was in the parking garage.
right.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, you know.
So
They had to fill it out.
they
Right.
fill it out.
So they had acts, big acts.
Right.
You know, it was real commercial.
Oh,
you know.
okay.
But the
So
warehouse
were you a fan of Paradise Garage? I mean, or
in the beginning, because I knew the owner, Brody.
right.
Okay. But you know, in the beginning I was. Afterwards I was like, you know, I used to go and hang in the booth with Larry, you
Right.
know, and shit. But you know, I wasn't. And what happened was it gave credence to Frankie
Right.
because Frankie then was the resident of a club that was known throughout the country.
Right.
You know, people used to come to the warehouse from Detroit, all over
Oh,
the
yeah.
Midwest. Even New Yorkers
yeah.
came here
Right.
to come to the warehouse, okay?
Right.
Because it was nothing like it.
Right.
It was private, for one. It was a gay club, although it had heterosexual kids coming, straight kids coming.
Right.
But, and then it wasn't touched by the city.
Right.
And then it was in a whole building.
Right.
See, it wasn't like a storefront, you know, like
Right.
going to the Dayton game, you know.
Right.
Right.
You know, this was a 3-story.
Right.
You know, the warehouse was a 3-story Art Deco building.
Right.
You know, had floor 1, 2, and the basement 3. You know, so you came in the warehouse, you went upstairs in the lounge area, then you
Right.
went down to the dance floor, then you went left there and went down to the refreshment area. You know,
That's
so it encompassed the whole building.
right.
You know, it wasn't like, you know, you had neighbors. you know,
Right.
You know?
And just like the garage had Richard Long, you had Richard Long.
Right.
All day. All day.
So it
all day.
also had that New York connection.
Right.
And then, you know, moreover, the people here had never, ever heard. They had, I mean, I'm not saying so much that they hadn't heard the music that was being played, that Frankie played, and not all of it. Because remember, Frankie's a New Yorker, and we're connected with Salso, out of Philadelphia, all of this going on, you know?
Right.
They getting in record pools, in D.C., the clubhouse, you know, all because it's that whole East Coast influence, you know? So the people in Chicago, then they were like getting that effect from the warehouse, you know? And then they had never, I don't know what was going on in Chicago. I can't really say. Okay, but I know one thing. They never had a sound system like that ever before. And they had never heard music played like that before. You know, because this girl once told me at the warehouse, she said, you know, my mother had those albums at home. Why it don't sound the same? You know? Because they had never been experienced to the way Richard Long had put that system together, that analog system, you know, with crossovers. They had never heard of them, the crossover, back then in the 70s. You know, in a black club. Okay, now this is a black establishment. Okay?
And so now, that's right. Even though it was gay, it was black gay.
Yeah, black owned.
Black owned and black, exactly.
Okay.
I think that is very important. That is very important information. Right. Because I think that I've had this debate with people about how Chicago, I mean, we all know Chicago is the most segregated city in America. You know, and I think that I mean, from what I've seen and what I've been told, I think that the gay community in Chicago is just as segregated as the rest of the.
Not as much.
But it's still segregated.
Right, but not as much.
Yeah.
Because see, it's like they hang on the north. They're more innovative.
Right.
Okay. Because gay people are a little more innovative. You know, except you can always tell it. You know what? I'll put it like this. Let me not say it like that. Let me say it like this. People who are artistically have brain activity, artistic brain activity, are more apt to be more successful in business and endeavors because they do not get blocked by phobia.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, just like I tell people, you know, because you hang out with gay people, that don't make you gay. Not unless you slip off. Okay?
Right.
And that doesn't exactly make you gay then either. That just, you know, you might be like being curious about things, you know? And men are more apt to do that than women anyway.
But it's important that the Warehouse was not only a black-owned club, but even though it was gay, the patrons were overwhelmingly black audience. Is that true? Is that up for debate or?
Yeah. But I mean, it had a lot of. It was kind of interracialist too.
Interracial.
They had a lot of Caucasians, Oriental.
A lot, or was it still the majority black? Or
It was majority black.
Majority black. Okay, but it was okay. All right, but yeah,
because Frankie Knuckles, was an interracial type boy. You know, he hung out with a lot of Caucasians, which I did. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Say that one more time, Robert.
I said, you know, Frankie hung out with more Caucasian, and I didn't. You know, he was, as I said before, Frankie was an artist. Okay? I was not an artist. Okay? I was a businessman. So we had artists and businessmen together. Okay? So artists are kind of temperamental and they have a few things going on, which I didn't see things the same way.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I had a more like forgive them attitude, you know, because business is kind of crude. Okay.
And you still have that attitude.
Yes. Yes.
And it ain't changed. That's good though. Don't change. Oh man, but I mean, the things that club has done. It's just. I mean, is it mind-boggling to you at times that the legacy that has come from that one endeavor?
A little, not a lot.
Right.
Because it's just something I did to me.
Right.
You know, I mean, I didn't think about it at that point.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't think about it then. But I mean, like at times looking back on.
When I look back, I understand why.
Right.
Because the warehouse had a monopoly.
Yeah.
You know, the warehouse was not the only after-hours club in Chicago.
Right.
People just don't know that. Okay. There was a club called Social Sounds Production, which was at 178 West Randolph, right downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. There was another club, which was Michael Izabuku was affiliated with, called Castles in the Sky.
Oh.
It was on Wacker.
Oh, okay.
Now, they were like not successful as the warehouse.
Right. Mm-hmm.
People did go there. I don't even went, you know? But the warehouse had a monopoly. Frankie had a monopoly on, it was tied down.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the political, the social,
or the system.
Or the system.
You ain't lying.
You know, they didn't have that. You know, people just didn't have that.
Right.
You know? So Frankie could, you know, do what he wanted to do.
Right.
You know, he wasn't, you know, sometimes Frankie would play the same shit over. And I'd be sitting in my office talking to people and they'd be like, oh. And I said, they said, well, Robert, you know, I got to leave in about 5 minutes. I said, where you going?
Right.
Well, Frankie finna play, I got to get downstairs. How you know he finna play that? You know, I'm like, for real? So, you know, I asked Frankie, I said, you know, people know what you finna play? He said, oh, yeah, because, you know, I play it like that every week sometimes. I said, really? You know?
Right.
But you couldn't touch him. You know, you could say, you know, he was repetitious sometimes in his music. Once he played a tape, the whole party, he didn't play nothing.
Wow.
He played the real and the system. But he made the tape, but
right.
You know,
But just let the real roll through the party.
Yeah, like he was playing.
Wow.
He had records on the tape. He told me he didn't feel good. Okay.
Really?
Wow.
But due to and you know his sound man, this white boy named Nick.
Right.
You know. And something else we don't have. You know, we had a personal, well, all of us from New York, right?
Right.
But we had a personal sound, a light man. We put lights in, you know.
Right.
We made our own custom lights for the warehouse.
Right.
So, if you're playing, right?
Right.
I'm Nick, right? So I know your music.
Right.
And I know what you do because I've been taught.
Right.
So I'm going to do the lights right here beside you.
Right.
You know, in accordance to what you're playing.
To what you're playing, exactly.
Right. So that had a big effect on. He was also Ron Hardy's light man too. I brought him over. You know.
Oh, okay.
But you know, it made a big part in the party situation. You know.
Right. The lights and the
right.
It's all part of the
right. Like I said, I did not know what was going on in the city.
Right.
You know, I mean, the warehouse was what I did.
Right.
Okay. I went north and hung out over the north side, with the kids, what have you. But, they came to the warehouse because we had a monopoly,
Right.
So it was like an arrogant effect, sort of like, like, y'all are peons, who are y'all?
Right.
In a sense.
Right. So what were the steps that led to the end of the warehouse? What?
Okay, the warehouse, I told you, was an Art Deco building.
Right.
And the building was built in 1920.
Okay.
And if you look at it, if you know anything about Art Deco architecture, if you look at that building, at the glazed brick,
Right.
And throughout the building, right? It was what is called a timber building.
Right.
So I mean, it was built of wood,
Right.
beam. Unfortunately, kids had danced the dance floor into a state of. So we had to put braces under the dance floor so it wouldn't cave in.
Right.
They made us put braces. The braces, we had to put more beams that was actually not there.
Right.
Because they didn't use it for that. So the city said, wait a minute. The city went to the owners of the building, which was the Water Saver Faucet Company.
Right.
And said, look, y'all gonna have to put steel beams, not wood.
Right.
That's a makeshift crap you're doing.
Right.
You're gonna have to reconstruct the floor completely. So the owners was like, we don't want to do all that.
Right.
So, they came to me and told me. I was like, well, you're not. They said, no, Rob, we're not. We're not reconstructing that building.
Right.
It's my daddy's building.
Right.
What we'll do is we'll help you find a new space.
Okay.
I said, okay, cool. So they helped me start looking for a new space for the warehouse.
Okay.
So during that period, a little before that, this white boy named Medusa,
Okay.
he used to come to the warehouse, right?
Right.
So he had a bright idea of opening his own club,
Right.
at 161 West Harrison, right? Called Medusa's,
Right.
right? And
Medusa started in the Loop. I didn't know that.
Prentice Row area.
Yeah.
So I went to the party one day, and I was like, this sounds a little familiar.
Right.
So I saw the tweeters hanging up, and I looked. I said, those look like our turntables too.
Right.
So Frankie had took some of the equipment out of the warehouse to help him open up Medusa's. And I went off.
Right.
I was like, So I disrupted the second party.
Oh. Ouch. Ouch.
So
Disrupted as in.
take that down, unplug those turntables. Okay.
Right.
But, Frankie was like, but this is my job. I don't care about your job.
Right.
This boy has to find his own equipment. Okay? But we're about to have a party. Not my concern. He'll pay you. I'm not concerned about pay.
Right.
So, of course, I had my crew with me.
Not my concern.
I hear you there. I hear you there.
Oh, wow. I don't blame you.
So this is where me and
Yeah.
So this is where me and Frankie Knuckles had a riff.
Okay.
Our first riff, because when you let other people in on your family,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Things can happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if you let somebody in on you and his partnership, sometimes they wanted to do a little poison pen act.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
So I didn't care about a competition type situation.
Right.
I didn't care about the boy opening up his own club. But not with my stuff.
Right.
Okay?
I hear that.
Not with Joe Richard Law.
No.
Shipped from New
No,
York.
no. Absolutely no. So Frankie then told me that he was mad. He said I was trying to stifle him,
Right.
his career. Hold him back.
Right.
I said, well, at this juncture, you're just going to be held back. Okay?
Right.
I'm sorry. So it caused a slight rift because, I tell you, Frankie socialized more on that side of the border anyway than
Right. Right.
So, meanwhile, the warehouse had closed,
Right.
okay? And we were looking at a new space. So, the people who owned the warehouse introduced me to Mr. John Linden
Okay.
and Associates,
Right.
okay, which they owned the old Swin Bicycle Company, which was at 1632 South Indiana.
Okay.
So they showed me the space, and I was like, oh, it needs a lot of work,
A lot of work.
but I can handle
You
it
can
because
make
I
it
liked it,
Right.
okay? So we wanted to still have parties, but we had closed the warehouse, so we rented this space called the Gallery down on Michigan Avenue, down from the playground,
Right.
a candy store, right?
Right.
And we gave a couple of parties there, right? The warehouse.
Right.
So I was trying to get 1632 in order when these white boys, Michael Graber and them, approached Frankie. Like, y'all can have our club. Open,
Right.
y'all can use our club for the warehouse. We'll sublet it to y'all. So, they had their own white boy gay club after our club
Right.
on North Hall Street.
Okay.
1015.
Right.
And it was called the Riverside Club.
Right.
Well, what happened was some of the gay white boys from the Riverside Club, how should I say this?
Hey, you don't have to be politically correct here at Arise Radio. Tell it like it is.
Look, they were tricking off with the boys in the greens.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
So the boys in the greens was having little dates with these boys at the Riverside Club, right?
Okay.
And then some of the boys.
The Greens are Cabrini Green housing projects.
That's correct. I'm sorry.
Right. It's global, so they don't know what the Greens are.
Right. So.
Which is not far from 1015.
Right.
North Hall. It's right up the street.
So what happened was some of the boys slipped up and told some of their homies who were a little more rebellish about the matter.
Right.
And they was like, we ain't going to trick off with these fools. We just want to rob them.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I'm not getting down like that.
Right.
Y'all can do that, but, that's a lick.
Right.
So they started robbing them when they're coming out the club because they had to go across North Avenue.
Right.
Back up Hall Street.
Right.
To Boys Town.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they started robbing. Okay.
They started robbing the clientele.
From the Riverside
Club. Right. So when Frankie approached me with this matter, I had already known what was going on at the Riverside Club.
Right.
I never been there because,
Right.
the color scheme wasn't correct for me.
Oh, wow.
Not totally.
Right.
So they offered Frankie the place. Actually, Frankie came to me. They offered it to both of us. I told Frankie that would be a no.
Right.
He said, you ain't even looked at the place. I was like, no.
Right.
I said, I have 1632.
Right.
Why don't I want to go over there?
Right. That
So
you
he
still get
said,
in order.
once again, he said, I'll stifle you.
Right.
I was on the stifle act. Okay.
Right.
So he said, well, I'm gonna take it and open up my own club and be on my own businessman. I can own my own club. Bye.
Right.
I was like, damn. But I knew Michael Graber and them were shysters in the first place. Okay? They were just trying to get somebody to babysit their lease,
Right.
so they could get out of there.
Right.
Because, of what was happening with the Kenny Green project.
Right.
And those guys,
Mm-hmm.
So they went on, and so Frankie left and embarked on that project.
The power plant.
Right.
Okay.
So meanwhile, once again in life, I'm without a DJ. Once again in life, I'm without a club, in a sense.
Right.
So my friend from New York, my partner, Ron Braswell, he was like, well, I have somebody that you might be interested in. And I was like, yeah. Who? So he said, the boy that plays at the Ritz.
Right.
I was like, what boy? I've been to the Ritz before. I ain't heard nobody there I was interested in.
Right.
So he said, his name is Ron Hardy. I was like, who? So he said, he showed me a picture of Ron. I said, oh yeah, I remember him from Den One.
Right.
He played at Den One. He wasn't a resident DJ at Den One, but he played there.
Okay.
People always think he was a resident, but he wasn't.
Okay. Den One was at, do you remember?
Carol Speakeasy.
I mean, where was it?
North Wales.
Oh, North Wales. Okay.
Right between North Avenue and Division on Wales.
Okay.
Right. It's still vacant.
It's still between North Avenue and Division. It's nothing but bars up there.
But it's still not.
It's still vacant.
It's still vacant.
Wow. Okay.
It's a family feud.
Oh. Okay, so he was at Den One.
Right.
But you heard him you heard him at Den One.
I heard it before Den One, but I didn't pay him any attention.
Oh, okay.
Because when I went out,
right.
I went to Den and a few clubs, but, I was like, really?
It's not the warehouse.
No, it's not the Richard Long sound system.
It's not Richard Long,
right? I had that attitude.
Right, you was spoiled.
Yeah. So he brought Ron Hardy to me. So I asked Ron Hardy, was he interested in playing for the warehouse?
Right.
So Ron Hardy told me, maybe. Let me think about it. So I said, okay, whatever. So I continued working on
the space.
On the warehouse.
Right.
1632 South Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And then I approached Ron Hardy again. And he told me no. I was like, why not? So he said, well, the warehouse is Frankie Knuckles.
Right.
I can't compete with that. And plus, I heard he's opening up a new club. I was like, oh, for real? I said, yeah, I heard that too, but
Damn.
So he said, well, people are not going to come to the warehouse because that's Frankie Knuckles. They're going to follow him.
Right.
Yeah.
And he came right out and told me, he said, well, you were the owner, but that's all you was the owner. You wasn't a DJ.
Wow.
Nobody came to the warehouse to hear you.
Wow.
I said, I guess you're right.
Yeah. They say the game is cold but fair.
Man.
Right,
really?
So I was like, dang. So Frankie was just about to open up the power plant when he got wind that I was thinking about hiring Ron Hardy. So he decided he was going to hire him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, y'all didn't know that.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Frankie tried to hire Ron Hardy. Wow.
Like you play Friday night, I play Saturday night.
Really?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it. It's business.
It's business.
Yeah. So I didn't look at it like, I don't look at things like other people. You know? You know, I was like, oh, that's a cute move. Yeah. So,
but it didn't work, obviously.
well, it would have worked.
Right.
But, you know, I had something other planned. You know?
Right.
So, now, meanwhile, just going back a little sidebarring, you know, while I owned the warehouse, I also owned the music box
Right.
in Mexico.
Okay.
That's where the music box came from, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
Oh,
So I used to fly down,
oh, okay.
you know. But another friend of mine got the bright idea, Rob, you should open up in Mexico, the university for the kids for the University of New Mexico.
Right.
And I was like, okay, maybe. So we got the music box going in Mexico.
Right.
So he got an offer in L.A. to do something, movies or something, man. He said, you want to stay? I said, no, I'm not flying back and forth down here.
Right.
You know? I said, what you do, you take all the assets, I'll take the paper.
Right.
Right.
So I took the corporation paperwork,
Right.
and I let him have everything else. And brought my butt back here.
Right.
Continue working on the warehouse. So Brian Hardy told me, he said, well, you know, Frankie offered me Friday nights. You know, he's a renowned DJ in Chicago. And he's opening up a new club, the Power Plant. And you're still working on the warehouse. You know? I don't believe anybody's going to come.
Right.
He said, you know, with me and Frankie both together, I think you're done.
Right.
I said, it does sound that way, don't it?
Wow.
So Ron Braswell said, well, Robert, don't be mean now. We got to, you know, so we talked about it,
Right.
you know. So I said, okay, I'll have another meeting with Ron Hardy.
Right.
So I said, let me keep it real with him this time.
Right.
So when I reapproached Ron Hardy, I said, look, I took him into 1632. I said, well, you're going to have a Richard Long Associate sound system, one.
Right.
I said, you can come work for me. He said, I told you I'm not going to work for the warehouse. I said, I have a better idea. I said, but meanwhile, you know, I said, so you want to go over to the power plant and be a second fiddle DJ, huh? He was like, what? I said, you're never going to be top billing over there. It's going to be always Frankie Knuckles.
Right.
You know, you just a fill-in. You ain't going nowhere.
Classic.
I said, well, I'm going to offer you a new club. He said, what new club? The warehouse? I said, no, I have another one.
Right.
He said, what other one? I said, well, you know, I own this club called the Music Box. He said, where that at? I said, over on 16. He said, that's the warehouse. I said, it was. I changed it. You know? So he was like, really? So I said, yeah, really?
Right.
I said, he's an artist. I'm a businessman.
Right.
I said, you're not going anywhere over there.
Right.
I said, Frankie's not going to let you outshine him.
Right.
You can go if you want to.
I know that's right.
So he was like,
Yes, he thought about that one.
He did. So I said, and plus I'll pay you this amount of money,
Right.
and you'll have your own club.
Right.
So what do you want to do? So he was like, I don't know what to do, man. He said, I like Frankie. I always like Frankie.
Right.
I said, but you act like you don't like yourself.
So did it take off from day one, or
No.
did it took time? It needed time.
No, well, see, the problem is this, is that since I owned the warehouse, since I created the warehouse in a sense, I had the original copy.
Right.
So when you leave me, you take a carbon with you.
Right.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Number two is I was confident because I know you are artists.
Right.
And I'm a businessman. So artists, that's why they have managers to manage their affairs because they don't do too well.
Right.
And I know this.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So I knew my artist friend wasn't going to do too well.
Church.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Because he's an artist.
Right. And I was a businessman.
Right.
So with us together, it was like I was his manager.
Right.
So it worked.
Right.
Okay, but when you separate that, things
Right.
get a little dicey.
Right.
Well, they can be.
Very
Yeah,
true.
depending on the individual.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Ron Hardy, he said, okay, I'll try it. Now, I wasn't too thrilled over his playing,
Right.
you know, because he played at a bar all the time.
Right.
He didn't play in a club scene.
Right.
It's a difference,
Oh, very much so.
you know?
It's-
So
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So we opened up. So we sent out invitations.
So what year is that when you first opened up with Ron?
83 or 4
83? Okay.
or something like that.
Right.
So I said, oh, by the way, too, me dealing with Ron Hardy, right? And the music box, right? Now, the music box was created in Albuquerque, New Mexico for the University of New Mexico.
Right.
So those are straight kids,
Right.
okay? So which gave me that idea.
Right.
And I said, oh, well, I'm not going to have this a gay club.
Right.
This is going to be for inner city straight boys from the projects and all the gangbangers and everybody.
Right.
They ain't never heard of this.
Right.
You know, so let me introduce them to something new.
Right.
Frankie can keep the gay kids. Okay?
Right.
So I figured that the heterosexual guys, you know, from the projects and the hood, they had never had that experience.
Right. Never
That
had that
music.
club experience. Right.
Right. So I said, so I invited them. Some of them had already started creeping down that way because they were familiar with the warehouse, but
Right.
they couldn't get in,
Right.
you know. And then I hired a couple from the playground
Right.
to help with the work, and they was like, damn, what's this gonna be,
Right.
you know? So,
The playground, another underground, the one on Roosevelt, right?
the one on 12th, around 14th.
Yeah. On,
Right.
yeah.
So I changed the whole concept when I changed over from the warehouse to the music box. You know,
Right.
because I didn't want it to be a gay club.
Right.
I wanted to deal with straight kids, girls and boys.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So it changed things. Okay?
Right.
Because the music box was not a gay club.
Right.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I didn't gear it toward them. I geared it towards the Moes, the GDs, people from the Ickies, Robert Taylor, you know.
Oh, yeah. A lot of
But I talked to them,
Right.
you know, when they started coming over, you know. I was like, look, we can't have this gangbang stuff.
Right.
We can't have it.
I'm giving you a chance. No other club will let you in.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So when I gave the first party on a Saturday night, Frank had already opened the power plant.
Right.
So the kids was confused a little. You know, it was like, now wait a minute. This is Robert Williams.
Right.
He owns the warehouse. Ain't that
Yeah.
the warehouse on 16th?
Right.
Talking about? What's going on here? So I changed completely. I said, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the whole concept.
Right.
So once again, when Frankie came, I remember that I decided to give a free party.
Give a free one.
Mm-hmm. You know, you're all welcome to the Music Box with DJ Ron Hardy.
Right.
Free, all night.
Right.
Now, Frankie only took with him the concept of the warehouse, how the warehouse was ran.
Right.
But I changed it.
Right.
Okay? For the Music Box. So what I did was, with Butch and them, on my little staff, right?
Right.
I put them in white shirts and bow ties.
Right.
And had Music Box sweatshirts made for them.
Right.
And I had cigarette girls. Miss Diane was a cigarette girl selling you loose cigarettes in the party. I had dancers.
Right.
You know, like strip dancers. This girl and this boy was strip dancing on top.
Right.
Because they had a mezzanine in it.
Right.
You know. And I had waiters. You know, you didn't have to go to the bar to get nothing.
Right.
If you were sitting on with your girl, we'd come over. You want some fruit?
Right.
Want cigarettes? Want something? When you came in, you didn't check your coat. We took your coat and gave you a ticket. You didn't even go to the coat room.
Right.
You know, so they was like, what the hell?
Right.
So it was something new.
It was a whole different concept.
Yeah, so they was like, damn. You know? So they went and told their friends.
Right.
I don't know what Robert and them doing over there, but yeah, man.
Right, they got
You
it
know,
cracking.
they got this. They, you know, and then now, the little boys like yourself, the straight boys was like, man, look, they got this broad up there dancing with no clothes on. They got some nice honeys coming through.
Right.
I got to go over here.
So initially, how long did it take for it to really to get? Was it? I mean, right after the free party, it took off from there.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Frankie had to close Saturday nights down.
And he was only doing Friday.
Right.
Ouch.
So the Music Box took back over Saturday.
All right. It was a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, well, you know, I had a few pills myself, so you know. But then what happened was, you public people put the clubs in competition.
Right.
Because then y'all decided on which one y'all liked.
Right.
You know. So, you know, there's the Box Boys.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I ain't going to the power plant.
Right.
You know, I'm going to the box.
Right.
And also, the DJs were different.
Yeah.
Okay. Majorly, Frankie was a professional person.
Right.
A professional DJ.
Right.
Okay. He did things by the book, you know, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
He was technical. He was an artist.
Right.
So he did it correct.
Right.
Whereas Ron Hardy, he was an artist in a sense because he came from a musical background, his family, right? But he was a rebel. Okay?
Yeah.
He didn't play by the rules.
Right.
Okay?
There were no rules.
There was none.
So how long did it take for you to really appreciate Ron's sound? Because you said
Not until the latter part of 1632 going into 326.
okay.
Because, you know, I had problems because when I was at 1632, the owner of the building, I didn't know the city had slated that building as a condemned.
Ouch.
You know, yeah, there was a lot of things. You know, and I'm a young black businessman.
Right.
Okay. Meanwhile, you know.
After putting in all that work.
Right. So, you know, I decided, well, I talked to my lawyer and we was like, okay, we're on our way to court.
Right.
You know. And, you know, they was like, you know, my attorney represented me and I sued Mr. John Linden and them.
Right.
And they was like, who is this little young boy coming in here talking about suing us?
Right.
You know? This is Chicago. They don't do that.
Right.
But colors don't do stuff like that. You know?
Right.
So, meanwhile, Ron Hardy came to me. Now, remember, he used to play at the Ritz.
Right.
This is where things get a little funny.
Tell all.
Please tell all.
He said, well, we're out of a club again.
Right.
No club. Okay?
Oh, so you guys were closed down.
Yeah, because the city said that building condemned. What y'all doing in here?
Oh, okay.
So we had a couple of months run.
So it was not a seamless transition to 326.
No.
Okay.
Well, see, 326 happened was after I informed Ron Hardy what happened, right? I said, well, we're done. He said, well, all may not be lost because, I work for Fred Morris, who owns the Ritz, and he owns an after-hours club, but ain't nobody going.
Right.
I said, what an after-hours club? He said, it's called the R2 Underground. I said, the who?
Yeah.
The R2 Underground. I was like, he said, but ain't nobody going there, so we might as well ask him, could we use it?
Right.
I said, oh, okay, cool, if he allow it. So, he had Craig Cannon, Andre Hatchett, and them running, and Frenchie working for him.
Right.
I didn't know these people. Okay?
Right.
So, he agreed to sublet it, but he had motives.
Right.
I didn't know about his motives at first. Fred's motive was with them. Well, the music box is kind of popular and jumping.
Right.
And that's Robert Williams, from the warehouse. We'll get them in here and then we'll put them out after we get their crowd.
Oh.
It ain't their club.
Oh,
We just letting them have parties here.
right.
And then y'all can take back over.
So, how did that work?
Well, he leased it to us. The party was jumping down there, right?
Right.
Ron Hardy started getting himself together. And all of a sudden one day, me and Ron Hardy's down there. He was doing remixing and stuff, editing and stuff. And this big white dude came through the back door and was like, who are y'all? And we was like, who are you?
Right.
He was like, I'm the owner of the building. Now back to what I said, who are y'all? And we was like, well, we leased this space.
Right.
He said, you couldn't lease the space because I didn't lease it to you. I said, well, Fred Morris leased it to us. He said, well, Fred don't have a sublet clause in his lease. I don't know how he did that. I said, I don't either, but, So he said, and where did you come from? So I went on to tell him that, I own the warehouse. He said, oh, yeah, I heard of that place.
Right.
He said, you own that place? I said, yeah, and I was just looking for a new home. He said, come upstairs to my office. So he wrote me out a whole new lease and canceled Fred's. Okay?
Wow.
While Fred was trying to be underhanded.
Right, but Fred didn't know nothing about this.
Oh.
He didn't inform me. And neither did I.
Ouch.
So, Fred was still going on with his plan. Okay. So, one day, about a couple of weeks later, Fred decided to do the hostile takeover act. So here he comes with Andre Hatchett and Craig Cannon and them. And he had this fur coat just over his shoulders and came in. Said, y'all got to go. I'm taking my business back over. Hardy jumping. So he told Ron Hardy, step down, let Craig and Andre play.
Right.
So I had already anticipated this. So I told the police that I don't know what this fool is talking about.
Right.
He's white now. But the police, I'm black.
Right.
So the police are looking at me like, okay,
Right.
man, you got to go, little boy.
Right.
So I said, well, I have a business license. And I have a lease. So I called Tony Lucas, was the Greek guy who owned the building.
Right.
He was upstairs in his office. So he came down. And he told the police, he said, yeah, I leased it to him and they're trespassing.
Oh my God.
So he told Fred that he'd have to, it was a civil matter.
Right.
You have to go to court.
Ouch.
We can only, like, deal with what's going on right now.
Right. Party jumping. Oh man, and I like Andre Hatchett. That's my guy.
So I told the police to take Andre and set him on the outside. The other guy on the outside. And take that equipment the Frenchie had and put it in the alley.
The alley?
Yeah, the alley.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So
326 went ahead and became your second legendary spot.
yeah, because, and then I had, I wasn't speaking to Andre Hatchett, because I didn't know him. He was a young boy.
Right.
But he was part of the coup to me.
He was part of the regime trying to take over. Right.
Poor Andre didn't know really what was going on. Because he was real young.
Right.
But he was like, damn. I wouldn't even let him in the music box.
Really?
Mm-mm.
He was part of the coup.
Yeah, you're barred. You cannot come in here. Security, if you see him, throw him out.
Oh, wow.
Ron Hardy's the one who, persuaded me to let Andre back into the music box.
Oh.
He was like, Rob, don't do it. I was like,
Wow.
So as things were going on, and the music box was getting more popular, with you heterosexual kids,
Right.
it was waking y'all's brain up.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Okay, because y'all was like, because I talked to a few brothers, they was like, one dude came to me one day and said, hey man, you better get old boy over there because he's looking at me. So I was like, what? He said, I'm GD. He's looking at me, man. I said, okay, and what's the problem? He said, I don't fuck around like that. I ain't no gump. I don't get out like that. I said, well, aren't you happy that somebody's looking at you? I said, doesn't that help your ego a little?
You're right.
I said, you should be glad somebody's looking at you. I didn't tell you to go to bed with the man. Just, whatever. Let's don't be stupid.
Right.
So I had to, I used to sit down and talk to the boys from the Ickies.
Right.
And Robert
Icky
Taylor.
Housing Project.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and Robert Taylor Housing Project.
And Robert Taylor Housing Project.
Okay, and Henry Horner Project.
And Henry Horner
Okay.
Project.
So, now what happened was, all the stray kids from all over the city, from the west side to the south side, all of them, started coming to the music box.
Yeah.
All out west.
Oh, yeah.
Henry Horner, all out central, east end, west end, all out there,
Oh, yeah.
all on the south side, 74th Street, all everywhere,
Yeah.
They start coming, right? And I was like, okay. And the gay kids, some of the gay kids from the warehouse days, that were going to the power plant, was like, wait a minute, we gotta go to the music box too.
Right.
They got some hot boys over there. I don't know where they came from, but we going. Okay? See if we can come up. Okay?
Cass State Bay, huh?
So these young boys that were from the inner city, they started listening to Ron Hardy. Now, young man, Ron Hardy created his own style.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'd like to ask you guys a question. Okay. Do you know where his style derived from?
No, I do not. You're about to educate me.
Yes. And I'm quiet as a church mouse.
Right.
Here because
Listen
I
to
learn
these guys.
something.
Yeah.
These are my boys. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, great things happen through tragedy or mishap,
Right.
however you want to define it.
Right.
Okay.
But Ron Hardy had became addicted to heroin. And the heroin is what created his style. Because he was playing, he was like, oh, fuck, after a good package or two,
Right.
this shit sounds slow.
Right.
All right.
So he pitched it up,
So he was pitching it up.
okay? So what he did was he energized the party because he was playing it at a little extra RPM,
Right.
okay, than it's supposed to have been played.
Right.
He had speeded the thing up, right?
Right.
And the kids was like loving it. Number one. And number two, because he was also a rebel and artist, he came up with all kinds of crafty stuff to do.
Right.
And because he was an addict, like I told people once before, I was in the booth with him once, and he was taking a hit, a snort or two off the album. He had his dope on the album. Not paying attention, the record went off. Party is packed.
Right.
They're still screaming Hardy. So, I tapped him, right? I was like, Ron, the record went off. And he took him another hit. I said, fool, I said the record went off. He said, oh, okay. He said, turn it up. I said, turn what up? You know the sound when the record goes off?
Right. When it's just.
Yeah, they go. The scratching line sound. He made me turn that up. And he reached over and turned all the lights. So if you had been in the box, it was midnight in there.
Right.
The kids were screaming like they had lost their mind. Hardy, Hardy. I was like, what's wrong with these fools? I didn't understand it. I was like, y'all are crazy.
Yeah, it's particularly my generation.
Right, and so I was like, why is, they were out there actually screaming while he had had turned it up loud, with the tweeters on. So it made it extra loud, right? Then all of a sudden, you heard faintly in the background, I love music. Dum, 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 dum. He came in there with the instrumental part of I Love Music. They went berserk. And then he put a big flash of white light on them.
Right.
They went crazy in there. I didn't even go to the dance, so I couldn't take it. Because they were doing a little slam dance. They was going wild, because the boys were a little rough in the box.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. So he would do stuff like that, and I was like, for real? He's the one that introduced the sensuous black woman.
Yeah.
Now here goes the party, and here comes you guys. Ron. Yes. My name is Joe, and I just recorded this beat at my house.
Right.
Could you play it?
Yeah.
Now, when you approach Frankie with that, you guys approached Frankie, he was not hearing it at all.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
No.
No.
I'm not.
You're not gambling, huh?
No, thank you. I'm no.
No Vince Montana.
Not Vince Montana.
No.
Right.
Okay. So Hardy would listen to you guys' tracks.
Right.
He listened to Lil Lewis.
Yeah.
What's his name? Who made his house? Chippy,
Yeah.
all that. And all
Right.
that, you know. Adonis. All them kids, he brought all that stuff there. You know?
Yeah. No doubt.
And he started playing it.
Yeah.
So he played somebody's track. One day he was playing somebody's track. I think it might have been, I don't know who it was. It was maybe Lewis or one of them. Or Robert Owens and them.
Right.
Okay.
He was playing their track. And then all of a sudden you heard, my name is Bessie Smith. I was like, what is he doing?
Oh, yeah.
So he created their own style. He started playing that's when he played The Sensuous Black Woman on top of these boys' track. And they went just absolutely crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So
They still play it to this day.
yeah,
day.
so he was very introverted type of guy. And I feel that today, okay, DJing, to me, guys,
Yes, sir.
is like making a meal.
I
You have
agree
to
with
have
that.
the right recipe,
Yeah.
so this dinner will be off the chain,
Yeah.
okay?
And you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen.
You sure
Yeah.
can't.
Okay? Number two is, what also makes a great DJ to me is your knowledge of music.
Absolutely.
You may be 30, 40, 20, but if you're black, all of it, blues, jazz, that's part of your heritage.
Absolutely.
So as they say, whose shoulders are you trying to stand on?
Right.
Or you just standing on the curb? Okay? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely.
So
yeah.
it's like, I can't tell you guys what to play
Right.
because I at this juncture in my life, I don't know what the hell. I can't even turn on your laptop hardly. You know what I mean?
Right.
You go over there and tell me, turn the CDJ off. I'm like, where's the button?
Right.
But the thing of it is that I may not know how to technically do what y'all do. I don't know how to do none of this y'all just did. Nothing in the studio.
Robert, I actually noticed you taking notes of me putting these cameras up.
Oh yeah, I was looking because
Plugging into the
look
board
here. Y'all are engineers of the sort. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. I'm older than you. I'm your big brother.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But one thing I have in common with y'all today
Right.
is that I may have forgotten how to put certain things together, but I know about music.
Yes.
I know good music when I hear it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yes, indeed. You can't teach that.
Right. So it's a thing of what you put together.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, this is just my opinion, okay? But if you are a real DJ, first of all, DJs to me also are, to me, they're musicians,
Yes. Absolutely.
okay?
Yeah.
Either you're a DJ or you're just a record player,
Right.
okay?
Just a jukebox.
Okay?
Yeah.
And if you are a DJ, then you study your craft.
Absolutely.
You learn people. I don't think, well, once again, my opinion is this. I don't think a lot of guys know how to differentiate the difference in playing at different venues.
Yeah.
They think playing at the Dayton game is a discotheque.
Right. No.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like playing at the house spot. No.
No. No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going to turn the family den out with Martin Circus.
He say the family did.
You know what I'm saying?
Starting out with Martin Circus.
Right.
So, to me, that's my opinion, right?
Right.
That music is inappropriate.
In a bar situation.
Right. See,
Right.
when I was younger,
Right.
running around in New York,
Right.
we didn't go to bars.
Right.
Well, we did a few, but we had different reasons for going.
Right.
Okay, we were hustlers. We did all kinds of crap,
Right.
But we really didn't hang out in no bar.
Right.
Like, places like kids do here, saloons and shit.
Right.
We didn't do that. And it's okay. I'm not knocking a person for playing in a saloon or a pub or a bar,
Right.
but you have to graduate somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to okay, what is this doing for me?
Right.
Is this career enhancing?
Right.
Is this ego enhancing? What is this doing?
Right.
Because I'm like, people were like, well, I'm the resident at, oh, you are?
That means what?
I mean, it may sound harsh, it may sound shady to people, my concept on that.
Right.
But I just think it's just like, for real.
Man.
I mean,
but it's true. I mean, clubs and bars are different. Yeah.
And people, okay, you have to look at it like this. I'm a male, just like some other guys, all right?
Right.
And a lot of DJs, they have to understand that they approach the psyche of this whole thing. First of all, I would always play the women.
Right.
Forgive the brothers.
Ain't lying. It's after 11.
Because they're going to be your cheerleading team anyway.
Right.
Oh, man, I got that. Yeah, man. Ooh.
Right.
But if you get these females on the floor, then you're going to get the hounds to follow right behind them.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Oh, did you see that? She's thick. Let me go.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
So women like instrumentals, but they like vocals a lot too.
Right.
And if you tune your music in towards them,
Right.
everything is set.
Oh yeah.
Right? Then you have to know what to play.
Absolutely.
I think most DJs should be arrogant, in a sense.
Arrogant DJs, I've never heard of such.
Well, real ones though, not record players. Okay. People shouldn't be able to come to you and say, Terry,
Right.
do you have what you call? Can you play this?
Right.
Why would they approach you with that?
Right.
You don't allow that because you have to have the attitude of, I'm Pied Piper.
Right.
You're the mouse.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
You have to know what you're doing, what venue you're playing at, who you're playing for.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I know these are my peers and these are people I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I could, people are like, oh, I might clear the dance floor if I play that. Okay, and
Take a chance.
Right.
you know what I mean?
Chance.
But if you know your music,
Yeah.
if you know, you can't be sitting up saying, well, this is pretty good. And you a dummy and you don't know it's pretty good.
Right.
That's different. Okay? You got to understand what good music is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Truth. Yeah.
Right.
That's truth.
If you know what good music is, it's like I came to Renaissance Wednesday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Black Terry was playing, right?
Yes, sir.
Trust me, I didn't know anything. I didn't know one tune he was playing. Not one. Okay? If my life depended on it, I'd been dead. Okay? But what I did like is I liked the music.
Right.
I didn't know what it was now.
That
Somebody could have, maybe one of your DJ friends might say, oh, yeah, that's what. I didn't know.
Right.
The fact that you like the Robert,
I
means a great
I had never heard it before. I don't know what he was playing. All I knew was it sounded all right to me.
Right.
I could dance. You know what I mean?
Right. No.
So it's the thing of, and it was somewhat refreshing.
Oh.
You know why? Because it wasn't like old school,
Right.
re-edited, revamped. Some old school music you don't have to touch.
Right, exactly.
And then you have to know what a
Preach.
real classic is.
Preach.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's some things don't
Preach.
need editing.
Preach.
Yes.
You know?
Certain things don't need
And then you have to
touching.
know what a real classic is. Not everything was classics back in the day that they played.
Exactly.
That's true.
Some things that, you could have just left. You know? Like this child told me, but we play B-side. I said, uh-huh. And you sound like B-side. Matter of fact, maybe E.
Ooh.
Okay?
Ouch. Ouch.
So I know I may
Take
sound...
the gloves off.
You know?
Man.
It's that, hey, in Chicago, I'm working to try and help relationship between guys.
Right.
You know, I came up here because I was invited,
Right.
and then I'm overwhelmed with, I started listening to you guys. I'm like, not bad at all.
Right.
I like their music.
Right.
And I'm glad that you're progressing, doing things, that will benefit the community.
Right. We try.
A lot of people, hey, I just don't get it, but, don't ask me.
Hey.
I think that I grew up during a time where, and still in New York, in New York, the DJs don't necessarily have to like each other, but they work together.
Right. They
Absolutely.
Sure
They sure do.
Okay?
do. Yeah, that's true.
Why is it that house music is founded in this city
Right.
and you want to proclaim it,
Right.
but you can't work together? I know there's a lot of idiots in the game, and there's a lot of people, perpetrators and all that.
Right.
But the people who are in control, who do have the skills and stuff, I think they should take over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they should be the ones that bring the youth in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To do different things.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything but enhance you.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's true.
Oh, it's just like Usher bringing water, bringing in Justin Bieber.
Right. I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree. It's
That didn't hurt his career none.
not at all. Not at all.
It may have helped his bank account, but never his career.
I always say that it's the more house becomes popular, it helps everybody. It helps everybody.
So I just think that, if we work together in the city,
Right.
if you're doing something, first of all, if you're accredited to a project,
Right.
okay, if you're doing a gig,
Right.
why aren't your brothers coming to help you with that gig? Like, hey, man, I want you to kill it.
Right.
Maybe because they're not happy with your success, haters. But there's no problem with that,
Yeah. Haters isn't a new thing.
No, but, it's a thing that you can avoid.
Yeah.
Keep your foot on them. Okay? Those people who want to hate, why do you have time to worry about what you're doing?
Right.
12 hours of the day, you should be doing your own thing.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Now, how did the music box end, and what were the steps in the music box ending?
Medusa.
Again, Medusa. Again, Mr. Medusa. Oh, please elaborate. Mr. Medusa again. If you just tuned in, Robert touched on Mr. Medusa.
Medusa's
Early.
a great guy, but what happened was he moved his club up on, what's the name of that street?
Oh, when he moved up north?
Yeah.
I forgot what.
Right off of Belmont?
Yeah.
Sheffield.
Yeah, it was on Sheffield.
Okay, thank you. He moved into a predominantly, I told him no,
Yeah.
but he moved into a predominantly Polish Lithuanian type neighborhood.
Right.
Old school.
Absolutely.
Okay. He had skinheads and crazy suburbanites coming to the party.
Right.
All right. They were defecating on the people's lawns, and here you have Mama Polish sitting on the porch, and she'd been sitting there and for 50 years. Her and Poppy, and some skinhead goes by, looking crazy, and pissing in her yard, and they were like,
Right.
this is a no. So whereas at that particular time, Bernie Hansen, who was the alderman,
Right. Oh yeah.
they went to him and said, look, you must don't want to be in office no more,
Right.
because we're going to vote you out if you don't take care of this problem.
Right.
So the city of Chicago decided, well, what can we do?
Right.
How can we stop this? So they came up with, these are after-hour joints.
Right.
They're not liquor establishments.
Right.
So we have to, control them.
Right.
So this is where they came up with the PPA,
The PPA.
Public Place of Amusement
Yeah.
license.
Right.
So Medusa went to court to fight it, and he wanted me to go do litigation with him. I was like, no.
Yeah, and he obviously he lost.
Yeah, he did, but it caused a problem because then the city started bothering me.
Started bothering everybody. Oh.
Yeah, and then they were having a little undercover rave parties.
Right.
So this was impeding on everybody, So they wanted, the music box was having the same problem, though, 326, because the floor was about to go again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we had to secure the floor, so Tony was like, man, we're going to have to find another spot. So that's when we left. I had to leave there. And I moved it to 650 North West Lake.
Right.
The Xerox building.
Then from there to 2210 South Michigan, the old powerhouse.
Right. Yeah. I remember.
But, it's like,
by that time, had you been were you disillusioned with the whole thing, or just tired, or just?
No, I wasn't. Maybe I kind of was a little tired, but it's more tiring now to deal with dummies.
That's tiresome on any level.
Because you can't come to me and tell me that you can't work with these people. First of all, a lot of guys live on the South Side. Okay?
Yeah.
So when I look at this city right now, y'all don't exist. The South Side don't exist.
Yeah.
When people from outside of the city look at the city, they look at it north only.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, the music is generated from the north side only. There's no west side.
Yeah.
There's no south side.
Yeah.
There's none of that kind of representation.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, now they say, well, it's dangerous out south.
Right.
Okay, it's a little dangerous, but you have to. Okay, just like where I put the house spot.
Yeah.
Okay, right next to the police station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. People feel safe as hell.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
There are places where you can do a venue. There's places where you can do a venue. You don't have to be concerned about the youth violence. You know, you can take care of it if you want to.
That's true.
You know, but you don't. You know, people are so. You know, they're getting their parties raided. Why? Because you ain't did no research.
Right.
You know, you just want to go in this building, put a table up, and put some CDJs on and try and play.
Like, nah. It's a lot bigger. The picture's a lot bigger than that. It's a
Yeah,
lot
so
bigger than that.
you have to get with people who have done things, who are doing things. If you have brothers, okay. You heard of natural resources?
Absolutely.
They're not all in the ground.
Yeah, you right about that too, Robert.
You are a natural resource. I could be a natural resource. Okay. A resource to you. Like, or to you guys, like, okay, well, I ain't quite plugged. So how I can go to this one over here, he's plugged. That goes into the saying of, you know, who you know.
Yeah.
That's always worked in the cities.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And that still works today in a lot
That's
of
true.
cases.
So you go to people who have been through the struggle to help you out with doing. You know, like, hey, give me some advice. You don't have to do it like they did.
Absolutely.
You know, you can do it differently, but, you know, your thing, but you don't, people don't reach out. Consciously, you know, they like, you know, they're big-headed in saying that, you know, they can do this, and they're following the wrong crowd of people, you know? Sometimes they're following people who don't have their interests at heart.
You're right about that too, Robert. You know, I learned that the hard way too. I mean, not in, you know, within the business.
Oh yeah, just in life
just
general.
in life general, yeah.
Yeah. You have to. Yeah, people, sometimes they say, well, Robert's a little shady. Well, sometimes I am. Okay?
Okay.
Because I don't want to be bothered with certain things. Okay? You know, I might just tell somebody anything. Move on. It's like your baby crying. Here's the pacifier for the mouth.
I know that's right.
You know?
I know that's right.
It's that we have to upgrade our music here in Chicago. We have to learn to try and do things. You know, I'm working with Ron Trent right now.
Oh, yes.
Great brother. But,
Great brother, very talented. You know, I grew up
and he told me,
raised together, so.
You know, like he told me I couldn't have my birthday party at the house spot, right?
Right.
I said, well, I'm not there anymore. So when we were preparing for them putting the party together, right? They put the party together, not me. I just was helping a little.
Gotcha.
But, you know, at the house spot, we were having great my birthday party was always great.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
people cooked and everything for the party. So Ryan Trent told me, he said, well, you know, we're going to have the party up North Rob. So I said, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So then he told me, he said, well, you know, there'll be no food at the party. He said, you know, people are accustomed to having food at your birthday party. I said, yeah, because, you know, like, I was like, you know, because people always call me and say, you know, you want me to cook for your party, Rob? You know, I'll do a pot of greens or whatever.
Yeah.
So Ron Trent told me, we're going to have your birthday party up north, but no plantation food.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Oh, wait.
No plantation.
Wow, Ron. Okay.
Which was cool. It was funny, but it was cool.
Cool, yeah.
But if you don't find people that you can trust, that you can work with, there's no need in trying working with people who are hating.
Yeah.
There's no need working with people that you're insecure with.
Yeah.
You know, they have to have similar goals than you. and want to impede on those.
Absolutely.
You know, whenever you guys do a project, think about it.
Yeah.
What's your purpose in doing this?
Yeah.
Whenever you have a party, I want you to do this, okay? Like if you decide to have a party, right?
Right.
What's your purpose in having this party?
Yeah.
Just don't say because, you know, it's an empty room and I got room to put my CDJs in and a place to plug up.
You know?
Nah.
Don't work like that.
Yeah, it does not.
No. You have to have a purpose, even if you're saying, because I want some friends over.
Right.
You have to have a real purpose in doing it.
Right.
Then it comes out better, believe me.
Absolutely.
You know, you have to plan for it.
Right.
You know, you might say, well, I want to do this party, but I ain't got that much money.
Right.
Okay, but what you want to do? Then that's when you go to your resources.
Right.
As I said, the natural resources.
Yeah.
Okay, girl, I want you to cook.
That's right.
You know, like, you know, y'all my female team.
Right.
That's
Y'all
right.
come in and help this brother. Cook for the party, serve for the party.
There you go.
Okay? You have to bring in folks.
Right.
You know, not, oh, well, Terry, I could do it, but you know, I'm going to need about $30.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I don't need you.
Say it again. Say it again, Robert. Please.
You know what I mean?
Say it
I don't
again.
need you. I need help.
That's right.
Okay? You can't burden me with your price.
Right. Exactly.
Okay?
Ooh-wee.
I'm just your older brother and they're saying these things. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
It's the absolute truth.
You know, so if we network, then, you know, get people to help you with your projects. You know, I mean, I hear a lot of things. You know, I pay a lot of people no attention because I'm like, whatever. You know,
But people pay attention to you, Rob. Yes,
you know,
they do.
I mean, looks like Rob McKay and them helped me put that exhibit together. They put it together for me at the Cultural Center. Did you come to that?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think?
That was nice. That was lovely. That was it was phenomenal. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. We have to do things, you know.
It was much better than I expected.
Really?
Yeah. I won't say I didn't. I won't say I had low expectations. I just wasn't sure how it was gonna, you know, how it was gonna pan out. You know.
Oh, okay.
It was just like, okay, you know.
I had
whenever-
donated a lot of pictures for that.
Yeah, whenever something you like really goes to that level, you think like, okay, it's going to be watered down, it's going to be commercialized, it was very nice. I really liked it. Really liked it. It was very nice.
You know, I have a lot of photos from people in the past.
I know you do.
You know, a lot of memorabilia from things in the past. But so, I mean, when you want to do things, always reach for people who are interested in what you're doing.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because like I said, you know, I like the Renaissance. It's interesting.
Right.
You know, it's kind of, I know why it's a little bougie-ish.
Right.
Because my girl Rhonda and Coco is doing it. Okay?
Right.
That's what they do. You know? It's no harm in that because if that's their clientele, that's their clientele.
Exactly.
Okay? It may not be yours, but
Right.
that's it.
Right.
But for the space that they're in, I like them because, you know why I like Rhonda and Coco?
Right.
Because they're hustlers.
Yeah.
They're hustlers.
True
I admire that
Yeah.
in them.
True
Okay?
hustlers.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely.
And Renaissance.
And
is-
Reggie too.
Yeah, Reggie too, definitely. Can't
Reggie
leave
who?
out.
Well,
Oh, Reggie Corner.
right.
Yeah.
It was the Rhonda, Reggie. And
Yeah, he's a
Coco.
hustler too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they do that party together. So
Right,
they
right.
wanna-
But they're
How could
all
I forget
hustlers,
Yeah.
Okay.
nonetheless.
That's my boy, though. Now here, I went to the Truth.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I actually played there this past.
I played there about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like this place. I like the place.
You know what?
You
know what? By the summer, the way Jamal Cooper has it set up.
Yeah, with that
by the
patio,
summertime,
that
that patio,
space is beautiful.
he's set up perfectly.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful.
Okay, I talked to Jamal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a beautiful. It's a beautiful space.
Yeah,
and it's really gonna be beautiful.
That's gonna be the spot for
I
the
talked
making
to
in the
Jamal and my boy Rob Mack.
Yeah.
You know, we were discussing it.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I tell people don't ask me.
Yeah, but it's not a club.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
It's a restaurant.
right.
It's a restaurant. You
Right.
know.
Mm-hmm.
But I just,
I think right now at our age, well, I mean, our age is a little different than your age, but I mean, even at our age, at the ripe age of 47, like myself,
okay.
Yeah.
I find that my peers are less inclined to go north than when we were in our 20s. I'm finding that my peers like to be like 15 minutes from the party. They don't know. They want to leave the party and be in their bed in 20 minutes tops.
Okay.
So I think people are really, if they're from the South Side.
Where
they
did
wanna
you
go
play?
Where did I play at Truth?
Yeah.
About a month ago. I actually played that first night too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who played with you?
The first night,
Mm-hmm.
it was me and
DJ Alicia.
me, Jamal, and Alicia.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
And then this past
last month it was me and
Oh, you played twice.
yeah. And then the second time I played, it was me. It was me. I forgot.
Oh, you
You
played
know
with
what I
somebody
told
else?
Jamal?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually played there this past Sunday. Me, Jamal, and Craig Alexander.
Yeah.
I told Jamal that, he asked me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, well, you know what? At the rate that you're going,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to run out of quality DJs.
I've already done twice.
Well, I mean, that's what I said.
Right.
I think that he should bring it down a little. Like one or two.
Yeah.
Because for one, this is just my concept again.
Uh-huh.
4 to 10, right?
Yeah.
So that means like 5 to 9.
It's 2 hours apiece, DJ.
No, I mean the whole party.
Right.
If it opens at 4 o'clock, ain't nobody there.
Yeah,
Basically.
he starts the party at 4, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, people don't come there until about 5:30.
Yeah. Right, he gonna bump.
Yeah.
But see what it is the club can stay open till 2, but they shut the party down. So if there's still a crowd there drinking, they can stay. They keep it going later.
Yeah. Well, okay. I like to. Okay, but basically, they shut that party down, Jamal's party down around 9:30, right?
No.
10.
It's past 10. I mean, it'd be like 10.
Depends on how the party is.
It depends on how the party is.
If it's packed at 9:30,
Yeah.
they still roll.
If it's still a crowd
okay.
there, if there's still a crowd there, they'll keep
But
them stay.
okay, but why can't they just have
2 DJs.
one?
Easily. They could.
I mean, one person couldn't do that.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
I mean, I just asked.
Right.
Yeah.
Just one person couldn't do that,
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one.
or is it
Robert.
that these people just don't have that type of stamina anymore?
Oh, no.
Nah.
It depends.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, it's like this.
I hear you.
I if you're playing Mr. Joe, and I hooked you up with, okay, let me rearrange this a little. If you're playing, and I say you're playing with Alicia,
Right.
I've heard both of you. The music is quite different.
Yeah.
The skills are different.
Yeah.
Way different.
Yeah.
Okay. Then somebody is going to be slightly complimented and somebody is not. Okay? There's going to be a compliment on one of them too and a non-compliment. Okay? I love him for saying you know what I mean? Because it's like, you know I'm silly, so you shouldn't.
I know.
Okay. It's like,
I know.
Wow.
it's a case of the bike, you're riding the bike, and all of a sudden you get off and put some training wheels on.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Or,
I'm off camera.
Man, me too.
oh my. But I mean, it's not, okay. It's like, I just think that one person would do, a skilled person
Yeah.
could do the whole night,
Yeah.
and it would be better on the club and the music scene there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it would, like, you know, hiring you for 2 hours
Right.
is not complimentary to me
Right.
because you're not able to stretch out.
Right.
Right.
You're not able to express yourself
Exactly.
as a professional.
Exactly.
Now, if you're not a professional, yeah, you can hopscotch,
Right.
okay?
Right. Yeah.
But professional people, it don't work good.
Right.
You know, people who have music history,
Right.
people who say, well, I'm going to give this a program.
Right.
You know, I'm going to let them know about some things.
Right.
You know, they ain't never heard this set.
Exactly.
But if you are a record player, it don't matter.
Right. It don't matter.
Right.
I thoroughly agree with you.
Yeah.
So when you mix record players with DJs, it's funny.
I hear that. Hey, Robert, can you repeat that? Say that one more time. Real slow, right? Real slow, like.
No, really. I mean, I don't want you to think that I'm bashing people.
Oh, not at all. Not
But-
at all.
I'm not. It's just that, you know,
I agree.
you have to know where you are.
Yeah.
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 You know, like, okay, let me just use me.
Right.
Okay, I know where I am.
Right.
I used to be a DJ.
Right.
Okay, I'm no longer a DJ.
Right.
Okay, I have DJ knowledge,
Right.
but I'm not a practitioner.
Exactly.
Okay, I can't even turn a CDJ on.
Right.
Okay, but I know if you turn one on, what I expect to hear from it.
Right.
Okay, what
Exactly.
type of music should be coming
Right.
out of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm complimentary to people who play classics. I love classics.
Right.
You know, some, as a matter of fact, you know, but you're not teaching me anything.
Right.
I already knew that before you knew it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, I heard that tune before you even realized what it was.
Exactly.
You know? But I need, you know, people who should be, you know, I went record shopping with Ron Hardy down on Grand Avenue, right off the state. It was a blues or jazz record store there. Okay, I was like, what the hell are you doing in here?
Right.
You know, are you serious? This ain't like Loop Records or something. What are you
Right,
doing in here?
Right.
He said, well, I just stopped to see what they had.
Right.
Oh, I know what record shop you're talking about, too. And I think
I
that
know
record
exactly.
shop is still there.
Here it is?
To this day.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Upper level Wabash.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That record shop is still there.
So I said, what are you doing here? So he bought this record. Right? And I was like, what the hell is this? The name of the record was, I'll never forget.
Right.
Because I was like, you finna play this at the box for real? The name of the record was Meet Me With Your Black Drawers On. a jazz record, right? The jazz or blues, right?
Right.
So I was like, I never heard that. He said, my father played it. I was like, your father? So I said, Ron, are you playing that? So he said, I'm going to play a portion of it. I said, a portion?
A portion.
A smidgen.
So he, I couldn't figure out what he was going to do with it.
Right.
You know, I was like, I listened to it.
Right.
I said, let me hear it. We got back to the club. I said, let me hear it. I was like, what's he going to do with that?
Right.
You know, like, made me rich, a black draws. I was like, what is this? So what he did was, he was playing the record, and he let the record go all the way out, and he started a track, but he had the track real low,
Right.
but people could still slightly hear it.
Right.
They knew it. They knew the track,
Right.
so they were screaming a little,
Right.
you know, but he didn't have it up where it was like you could really hear
Oh,
it.
but yeah.
That's when he played that Meet Me With the Black Draws on. Loud.
With your black draw.
And then he started oozing the track in. Oh, they went bananas. I couldn't believe it. But I mean, it's your creativity, like in New York, you know, David used to, you know, he was a fantastic DJ. David Mancuso.
Yeah.
Because, you know, going to his party was the first time ever in life as a black man I ever contemplated suicide.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And for what reason?
Because, well, it was too intense for me. I wanted to get out of the place. Well, you know, I was a little high. You know,
Just a little high, Robert.
just a little.
Come clean, Robert. Just tell it all.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
But I wanted to get out of the party because I couldn't take it. The
Right.
music,
Okay.
the effects.
Oh,
And I thought about jumping out the window. That was an easy way to get out the party.
Ooh.
wow.
Ooh.
Only reason I didn't do it, I would have done it,
Right.
but I couldn't get to the window. Too many people,
Yeah.
you know.
Wow.